Welcome back. It was time to do the interior, so I looked back at my walk around from the British Motor Museum and looked particularly at the footage from the concept car. I decided to use the mixture of light grey and semi-gloss black to do my own version. I started by using a mixture of Revell semi-gloss dark grey with their light grey at about a 2:1 ratio to paint some of the interior. I used Wilko satin black to do some of the other parts of the interior, such as the dashboard and the rear of the chairs. I decided to try a new technique to do the carpets using 1mm thick grey felt. Firstly, I put some low-tack masking tape into the footwells of the car and pressed it down into the corners using my tweezers. Following this, I got a marker pen and drew out the borders using the shape of the footwell. Then I removed the masking tape and cut out along the pink edges. I didn't bother to put the areas that would be under the seats, as this wouldn't be seen. I then stuck the masking tape onto the piece of colour matched felt and cut the shape out. After peeling off the masking tape, I did a test fit. I'm pretty happy with that. I think it gives a really good finish. To do the other side, I can simply flip over the piece and cut out the same shape on the other side. I then use Revell semi-gloss black to paint some of the other features, such as the centre console and the pedals. Helps to have a very fine brush, about 1mm, to do these kind of very, very small details. I then glue the semi-gloss black seat backs to the seats themselves using Revell's polycement. And I do a quick test fit to see if the carpets interact too much with the seats, but I'm happy that the fit is good. Before painting the dashboard, I looked again at a reference photo of the real car to ensure that I got things colour matched. I then used a toothpick along with some white, red, blue and clear gloss to add some details to the dashboard. The clear gloss is useful to replicate the screen of the radio. Before applying the decals, I put a little bit of microset into the recess. I brush the decal that's been soaking in water with a little bit of microsol to help soften it before it is applied. The decal folds a little bit when I apply it, but if you're patient and careful and use tools such as a brush or a cotton bud, you shouldn't have too many problems. I apply a little bit more microsol to stop silvering. I then apply the ignition buttons decal. The instrument panel of the XJ220 wraps around the driver, reminiscent of the Le Mans winning D-Type pictured here. Therefore, the next decal to add would be the decals of the instrument panel that appears in the door. This houses things like the boost meter and the clock. I used some microsol so that the decal sat in the recesses and gave a nice finish, even though it's very small and you're unlikely to see it once the car is finished. I then went on to gluing the carpets in using a little bit of PVA glue. I pressed the corners in place. I then fixed the seats in place using a bit of Revell contactor poly cement. Looks pretty good. I then fitted the small features such as the handle, the gear stick and the handbrake using tweezers and a little bit of super glue. The handbrake appears in between the door and the driver's seat. I find in situations like this it's very useful to have a pair of reverse action tweezers so that the tweezers can hold on to the item. There is no decal for the steering wheel. The door guards fitted into place nicely with some small tabs. I then moved on to adding some details using some aftermarket seat belts that I bought from B&A Model World in Australia. I painted these semi-gloss black and added a small bit of red for the button on top. I then used sticky back vinyl strips cut to the right length to simulate the seatbelts themselves. I chose not to use buckles as I didn't feel that they would be noticed anyway. The tweezers are very useful here to get into details that my fingers cannot. Looks pretty good, I think. Very much like the real thing. Finally, I glued the dash into place. It fit very snugly with the door cards. And here's the final thing. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and make me some comments too. Thanks for watching.